Yep.
We have Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey, who is joining us. Thank you so much, Mayor, for joining us.
Well, thank you for reporting tonight.
Yeah, quite a difference from the last 4 nights.
Mayor's
That's
up right
right.
now.
We've got an organized and measured approach that we're using right now, and it's very much focused on preservation of life, preservation of property, and then restoration of order. And we needed to get our city back tonight, and so we have a very strong approach that we've used starting at around 8:45 when there was a significant disbursement from the 5th precinct, and obviously arrests were made since then, 25 by the MPD alone coming out of the 5th precinct, and I'm sure there have been more since then. But so far, many of the groups have scattered, and we're working towards a restoration of order. But let's be real. I know the night is still young. We still got a ways to go.
Yeah. If you're just joining us back on television, we stayed on our digital station, CBSN Minnesota. We just got on the phone about 30 seconds ago with Mayor Frey, who talked about already an organized, measured approach and 25 arrests. And Mayor, talk to us a little bit about the future, short term this evening, and then looking into tomorrow, whether we're facing another curfew, whether you expect things to, I guess we'll start right now. It's midnight. Do you stay at it all night long till the sun rises, and are you confident that we're going to see this same level of relative peace right now?
Well, although it is midnight, I will say the night is still young in many senses, so we still have a lot of work to go. Again, this is really focused on preservation of life, preservation of property, and then restoration of order. And as I mentioned previously, the night began with a pretty strong showing over at the 5th precinct with a dispersing of a significant gathering that was there. You mentioned, 25 arrests or so were made, and I'm sure there have been more that have been made since then. I'm glad that more people decided to stay home today. It did make it easier, the fact that they were abiding by the curfew. We have more work to do here, though.
Mayor, compared to other nights, and especially last night was a particularly rough night with all of these fires. Is there anything going on in the city? I mean, we haven't heard anything yet. We've seen a couple of fires in the dumpsters, but I don't know. Are you hearing anything from Minneapolis Fire?
No, we've had no significant fires so far. There was a car fire over on 35 that was put out by an overhead. But I'm sorry. Additional information here in the other ear.
What's that?
Sorry.
Oh,
Can you ask the question again?
Yeah, don't worry about that. We do that all the time. No, we just wondered about the fire instance, and you said one.
There have the fires have been very small and very limited, and have not been on any significant structures. And so obviously that's a substantial difference from last night. The additional presence helps. The additional numbers in terms of the National Guard. We have over 1,000 between police officers and State Patrol, and then 4,100 National Guard statewide, obviously a significant portion of them in Minneapolis. And it was a coordinated response. It's been well organized anyway thus far, and I've been in constant contact with the governor and Mayor Carter in St. Paul as well.
So is that one of the lessons out of this thing? Because I was talking to Pat about this, is that if you're going to have an enormous protest, that you've just got to have the numbers to do it. Because, I mean, I've been listening carefully to your comments the last few days, and I understand that there was a plan. The plan wasn't workable. We were outnumbered. It looked to me like it was almost a math thing versus, hey, folks, we had a strategy, we had some ideas, we couldn't implement them because we were outnumbered. Is that one of the lessons learned out of this, is that you've just got to have an overwhelming force if you want to stop this kind of stuff?
Well, I think undoubtedly there will be many lessons learned associated with this, and I think there's always room for improvement on both plans and strategy. But even with the perfect plan, even with the perfect strategy, if you don't have the numbers to confront the mass rioting and looting that we were experiencing in our city, there's just nothing the officers can do on their own. We were trying to defend precincts, defend businesses, and when you've got bands of 100 or so that run into the store to loot, you arrest one and 99 more come in. It's a difficult scenario, and so yes, you definitely need the man and woman power to allow for a more successful result. And I want to be clear: there's no success in any of this. Mm-hmm. This whole thing is absolutely this whole sequence of events, beginning with a tragedy in the death of George Floyd, was appalling. And it's been sad to say the least. But you see just little glimmers of hope here and there with the rally that was down in South Minneapolis earlier today, with it seemed like thousands of people that were, chanting and dancing, and it just made me realize how much I miss our city.
Yeah, we saw some really cool positive things today, which was nice.
We absolutely did. Mayor, do you think, I don't know if you had answered this or not, but will you be implementing another curfew or more days of curfews, or are you going to assess that tomorrow?
I'm not going to make any decisions before we're able to better evaluate what's happened tonight. And, although it is, I guess it's around midnight right now, there are still more hours to go. And so we'll look at what happened today. We'll reevaluate again in the morning. If I can get maybe 1 hour of sleep at some point, that would be extraordinary. I've had maybe about 5 in the last 4 days. But make some good decisions with that's a little bit fresher.
Yeah, no, it's tough, right, with the fog of tired and all the stuff you're responsible for. So we're grateful for your time right now. What's your take on the how many outside influencers, agitators, whatever the word is? The governor set up to 80 today. He walked back on that number. Where are you at on this, Mayor Frey? We're speaking to Mayor Jacob Frey. It's 12:03, 12:04 right now. Mayor Jacob Frey from Minneapolis. What do you think? Was this Minnesotans that just lost it because they're so upset about Mr. Floyd, or was this a bunch of people coming in from the outside stirring the pot?
Yeah, I don't want to speculate as to the exact numbers on that, because the truth is that I don't know. Not to mention, to the extent there were outside agitators that were coming in from other cities, other states, it's likely that they would have been more experienced. And if they were more experienced, maybe they wouldn't have gotten caught, and so we would have no way of knowing. And so, it's difficult to know. It's clear that there were outside groups here to some extent. But how much, I'm going to hold off before I say.
Are you going to try to find out? Is it important to know? Does it have meaning if you know if these people that were really the bad actors are homegrown, or if they're outside folks?
Well, the most important piece right now is really restoration of order and protection of life. Let's do that, and then we can start thinking about next steps.
Do you feel, in hindsight, you had a couple of days to look back, any regrets about giving up the 3rd precinct on Thursday night?
I'm sure there will be plenty of times to evaluate decisions in the days and weeks ahead. I wouldn't wish on anybody to be in some of these decision-making rooms that I've been, to have to make the decisions we've got to make. But I've made the decisions based on the preservation of life, and certainly. There'll be plenty of room for evaluation as we go along. But I got to run to the next thing. Really appreciate your time and your reporting tonight.
We appreciate your time too, Mayor.
Get more than an hour's sleep,
some sleep,
Mr. Mayor. You'll be better off for yourself and the city.
Thank you.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Have a good one.
You too.
Yeah, Mayor Jacob Frey joined us live, 12:05 in the morning, 53 degrees, and he just hung up.